Imagine one family. No army, no throne, no crown, just money. And yet, by 1850, they controlled more wealth than most nations on earth. They funded both sides of wars. They decided which kings got loans and which ones didn't. And when a government ran out of money in a crisis, they called one family, the Rothschilds. Today their name is everywhere, whispered in conspiracy theories, trending on social media, blamed for everything from recessions to world wars. But here's what nobody tells you. The real story is far more interesting and far more disturbing than any conspiracy theory. Because the truth doesn't need to be exaggerated. It starts in a ghetto, Frankfurt, Germany, 1760s. A Jewish moneylender named Mayer Amschel lives in a cramped alley called the Judengasse, the Jews' lane. Jews in this era couldn't own land, couldn't hold government jobs, couldn't even walk freely in some cities. But they could lend money. And Mayer was very, very good at it. He renamed himself after the red shield, Rothschild, hanging above his door. And he had one genius idea. Not a product, not a patent. 5 sons, 5 cities. He sent each son to a different European financial capital: London, Paris, Vienna, Naples, Frankfurt. Think of it like the world's first international banking network. Before telegraphs, before phones, before the internet, the Rothschilds had their own private courier system, faster than any government. By the time Napoleon was marching across Europe, the Rothschild network already spanned the continent. Here's how the system actually worked. War is expensive. When Britain needed to fund its war against Napoleon, it needed gold, fast, across enemy lines. The British government couldn't do it safely. Nathan Rothschild, based in London, could. He moved over 10 million pounds in gold across Europe, past French forces, through secret routes, directly to the Duke of Wellington's army. That's roughly 800 million pounds in today's money. One family, one operation. It helped save the British war effort. In exchange, the Rothschilds became the primary bankers to the British government. But here's where it gets darker. They were also financing France, not because they were disloyal, but because war on both sides meant interest payments on both sides. This is the moment the Rothschilds understood something most people never do. Governments need money more than they need loyalty, and the family that provides that money holds the real power. By the 1820s, the Rothschilds had restructured the national debts of Britain, France, Austria, Prussia, and Naples. 5 countries, one family's signature on the loan documents. They essentially invented what we now call sovereign debt financing, the idea that governments borrow money like businesses do and pay it back with interest over decades. Sound familiar? It's the entire basis of modern government finance. Every country running a deficit today, and almost all of them are, is operating inside a system the Rothschilds helped architect. June 18, 1815. The Battle of Waterloo, Napoleon versus Wellington. The outcome would reshape Europe forever, and Nathan Rothschild, in London, knew the result before almost anyone else. His couriers had crossed the channel overnight. Here's where history gets contested and fascinating. The popular legend says Nathan walked onto the London Stock Exchange floor, looked grim, and started selling British government bonds, called consols. Other traders, seeing the most connected banker in Europe dumping bonds, panicked. Rothschild knows something. Napoleon must have won. Everyone sold. Prices crashed. Then, at rock bottom, Nathan's agents quietly bought up everything. When the official news arrived that Wellington had won, prices exploded upward. Nathan Rothschild reportedly multiplied his fortune by a factor of 20 in a single day. Now, historians debate whether this story is entirely accurate, but here's what is confirmed. Nathan Rothschild did receive early intelligence from Waterloo. He did trade heavily that day, and the Rothschild fortune did expand enormously in that period. Whether the story is legend or fact, it reveals something real. In a world without instant communication, information was the ultimate currency, and the Rothschilds had built a system to own it. This moment, real or mythologized, is why the name Rothschild became synonymous with secret power. And it's why, 200 years later, their name still trends on the internet. So what happened next? The Rothschild empire slowly, quietly transformed. By the 20th century, they stepped back from the public eye. They sold their gold-fixing business in London, which they had operated since 1919, in 2004. They moved into private equity, wine estates, mining assets, and asset management. Today, Rothschild & Co. is a respected, but not dominant, investment bank. The hyper-centralized family empire is largely gone. But their legacy is everywhere. The concept of central banking, where one institution controls a nation's money supply, was shaped by families like the Rothschilds. The idea that governments borrow from private institutions, which must be repaid with interest, is their model. The modern bond market, a $130 trillion global system, traces its architecture to the methods they pioneered. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The conspiracy theories that surround the Rothschild name, often laced with anti-Semitism and paranoia, actually obscure the real lesson. The real conspiracy isn't one family pulling secret levers. It's an entire system, built over centuries, where those who control credit control outcomes. It's not a secret. It's hiding in plain sight. Mayer Amschel Rothschild, the man who started all of this, once said something that has been quoted, misquoted, and repeated for 200 years. Whether he actually said it is disputed, but the idea itself is real. Give me control of a nation's money supply, and I care not who makes its laws. Think about that for a moment. Today, central banks, not elected governments, set interest rates that determine your mortgage, your rent, your job market. The Federal Reserve is not a government agency. It's a private institution. The Bank of England was privately owned until 1946. The system Mayer Rothschild helped build, governments dependent on private credit, is the water we all swim in. And most people don't even know it exists. So the next time someone tells you the Rothschilds secretly run the world, don't laugh. But don't just believe it either. Ask a better question. Who controls the money system, and how did it get built? Because that answer is hiding in the history books. And now you know where to start looking. Do you think private institutions should control a country's money supply? Drop your answer below, and tell me if this changes how you see modern banking. If this video made you think differently, share it with one person who needs to see it.